Hello, everybody, and welcome to It's Your Time. All right, and I am Donna,
And I
and
am Vicki.
all right, and we are here today to talk about some general things that we would like to do and get each other's ideas on these things. With what's going on, there's many things to talk about. There's always many things to talk
There's
about.
too much stuff to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. But the one thing I did want to start really quick with a clarification on the channel, um, where I said it took, or between me and the helpers, they said it took 10 years to get through to me. It wasn't that I was trying to connect to them for 10 years. It was that they were trying to connect with me. So if you are trying to connect with the helpers, it would be a lot faster. So I just wanted to make sure that was understood because some comments made me wonder if if I had said it wrong or it shouldn't take 10 years. Anyway, so first thing I wanted to talk about this time is explain standing in your own power or staying in your own power, which really comes down to being in your heart. But if it is just being in your mind, that's okay too, and wherever you are, as long as it's yours, then that's a good thing. If you are within your heart, then when you look at things that are going on out in the world, then from there you can just send love. And if you're in your mind and thinking about all these things, a lot of times you end up in, the negative side of what's going on. So it's always best to be in your heart, I think.
And
But
and that was something that I wanted to kind of further delve into is the being in your heart, because I'm very much of a mind person. I just have mind, I have mind and throat. That's like what I have. And sometimes it's hard for me when you say be in your heart, it's hard for me to get in my heart because everything's up here. I mean, I can, but it takes a while. I have to like think about something that's going to make me cry, my mom, my
oh,
dogs. So is there an easier way?
that's a sad way. I don't want
I
you to do it.
know. Is there an
Yeah.
easier way to get into your heart?
Well, I mean, the easiest way, what you are always talking about, is to be enjoy. That is from your heart. I mean, when you think of the idea of getting into your heart or going into your heart, it's almost like a leaning back into yourself, rather than when you're in your mind, you're here and worrying things and working things, and your brain is only there to process. Your heart is the one that actually, supposedly, they've discovered that the heart has more sensory, can read more sensory information than your brain, which that was really cool to
Yeah,
hear.
I know Greg Braden talks about the 40,000 neurons or something in
Right,
the
that's
heart.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, and this is not just for self-help. This is anytime you do this, it will help the collective also, and helps you to stop worrying about things and to get out of anxiety, get out of fight and flight, and to not worry about what's going on in the world. Not that you don't know what's going on. If you need to know or want to know, that's fine. But you don't want to live in that. You want to live in the best part of it. So when these things come to you, or if you have, Regina Meredith explains it, that if you're trying to make, she explained it as if you're trying to make a decision and you don't know which way to go, and your brain is going, do this, do that. No, if you do that, then this is going to happen, or maybe this will happen, or that, and you're stuck in that. That would be the same thing as if you're looking out at the world, or the world is looking at you and saying you should be out protesting. You should care about politics. You should care about this. That doesn't mean you don't care about it if you're in your heart. It just means you're taking that energy of that ping pong match, and you can imagine it as something, anything that you want, a ball of light, whatever it is that works for you. I thought that's what you said. You imagined it as a ball of light, and just take a breath and just imagine it going down, and the ball of light lands around your heart, or in your sternum, I guess is where that chakra would be. And then just take a breath and feel what that feels like. And when you know what that feels like, you can easily do this, and you can just sit back into your. And so whenever I feel tension, it's like when I become aware of it. Sometimes you're not aware of it for a while, but when I start feeling my body, my body tells me like, whoa, what are you doing to me? Well, then I'll just like oh, okay, sit back and take a breath. That's what you're doing. You're falling back into your center. You're falling back into your heart. And we're going to be living from our heart rather than our mind in years. It may take years to get there, but that's where we're headed.
So that might be a good practice to try, is just using the ball of light and having it come down and just settle in your heart and just kind of lean into it, lean
Yeah,
back into it.
exactly. Fall back into is a
Yeah.
good term. My helpers came up with that. And if you are trying to make a decision, once it's in your heart, you may easily find an answer. Whereas when it's up here, it's going
Yeah, you're analyzing it to death, because that's what I do.
right. Well, analyzing is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with,
yeah, but not to death.
right, not right. When it gets to where it's like, oh, I'm thinking of that again. Oh, bring it back down. No matter how many times you have to do it, eventually you'll be able to do it
Okay.
easily.
So I'm going to
And
practice that.
okay, cool. That's cool. And I noticed after we had talked, Vicki and I talked about this yesterday, and after I did that, when I was doing one of my daily practices of humming, I was imagining in different places within my body and the chakras, and it made a difference. I hadn't even thought of that before until Vicky's the one who said, "Oh, I see it as a ball of light." I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool." And so I took that today. And this is why we do this, because if you hear something that resonates with you, you may have another way of doing it. You can explain it to somebody else. It just goes exponentially into a better place. It's always a good thing. So, yeah. So, and then another thing I wanted to talk about was accepting and receiving, which is really very, very difficult for a lot of people. But most especially it's women have been, I don't want to use negative words like oppressed and things like that.
Oh no, don't do that.
No, let's not use that word. That's
No
okay.
oppression here.
Oh, yeah, don't bring that negative stuff here. Well, I mean, it's a polarity, okay? So a negative can be turned into something positive. So, but it is hard to accept and receive. There are two different things. Accepting is you can look at something and say, I don't like it, but I accept that it's there. And a lot of times that's just like you can say like when a person maybe somebody drinks a lot and they've one moment they finally say, oh, I'm drinking too much. That's like the acceptance of this happening. Wherever it goes from there is fine. Whatever they do is fine, but that is the first big step, to accept something. So, and my hardest thing was accepting that I had allowed myself to be in certain situations. And so accepting that allowed me to receive answers and to bring up answers from within myself and that brought out my inner child and helped my inner child grow a lot once I accepted that I had done this. So, and it's the same with what's going on in the world. Something terrible is happening. All you can do, there's nothing you can do. So why wallow in it? You look at it, you accept that that's how it is at this moment, but I don't have to live there. And then I can receive from it whatever would be a higher thing for me. So if you're looking at a war or something like that, it's like, well, the people that are in the war, a lot of them, I mean, I don't know necessarily, but I know people who went into the army or, into the armed forces because they wanted to. So they're there doing what they wanted to do. So you can, some of them. So that's where I try to, put the puzzle pieces together in that way and try and make it the best way that I can,
And if I could interject for just 1 second,
Oh, sure. Always.
because sometimes talking about wars and big issues, it's like, and knowing that you don't have any control, except for, of course, yourself. And this is where I would say, if you need to do something, but you can't do anything, just sit with it, send it peace, send it love, send that thought out. At least you are doing something positive to help the world, even if you don't think so. Just getting yourself into that space and sending out love, that has a tremendous frequency to it that does that can change the collective if enough people do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's how we have grown exponentially, and how some of our helpers are very surprised at how fast we grabbed onto all
We're
that.
doing good.
We are doing really well. But I think that for a lot of people, they believe that accepting and trying to receive, that they're giving up control, and you're living in the control of it, because you are controlling. Oh, that's what it is. I can't do anything about that, but I can control myself, and I can control my reaction. So, and then the other side of it, in the receiving, that's I think where a lot of women think that they're giving up control, and I totally hear that. I mean, I can't fight that at all. I totally accept that that's true in a lot of places, and well, I guess, you have to accept and receive what will be better for you when you get to a point where you just, I hope people don't have to go all the way down to the bottom of it, but I've been there, so I know. So there comes a point where you have to accept and receive that you brought yourself here. How do I get out? And just, find your way out. But receiving is not always negative. Receiving, it's not the opposite of giving either, really. It's if I'm receiving from someone who wants to give me something, that is what shamans would call Aini, Ayni. It's a reciprocal thing. So I'm allowing them to give me something, and that makes them feel good for the giving. So it's a reciprocal thing. So
And
that
I think that's what gets lost for a lot of people, because I have friends who who cannot receive. They can give, they can give, they can give. But like, say, if their kids want to do something for them, if they want to buy something for them, it's like, no, 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 I can do it. I don't need your help. But then you're cutting off their ability to get joy out of helping you. And you really kind of have to look at things like that. It's like they want to do something because they love you. Allow them to do that.
That's right, exactly. And it don't stop your flow. That was something my dad used to say to me, because somebody would say, I did something for them. Oh, allow me to pay you, or, whatever. And I would say, oh, no, no, it's fine. And my dad said, you're cutting off your flow. If you say thank you, then the energy keeps going.
Oh, I
And
like that. Don't
yeah,
cut off your flow.
don't cut off your flow. And so and that comes in my head so many times before, I'm just about to say, no, thank you very much. Or like taking compliments. A lot of people don't know how to take compliments. That's receiving. That took me a while. And, and
I still have issues.
I, I would never tattle on you. But everybody's working on everything I'm working on stuff like, I talk too much. So I'm working on that. I'm working on watch. I have to watch her to see when I should stop talking.
Because I'll be going, oh. And
Well,
I
I
don't
can
want
hear
to
it.
see that. I don't want to see that picture of me on YouTube, by the way. Just let you know.
I hear you. I hear you. Your mom voice or your mom face. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
my hot face.
I can see. Well, I hear it in your voice too. Like, well, like what? Like it goes up higher. Like, oh, we're getting close to our time. I don't even know what our time is now. It just says it's
I don't know.
recording.
I'm not going to lean in to look. I'm going to wait for the thing to pop up.
So, well, then, taking responsibility is another way that we can hold our control. If you want to have control, taking responsibility without deflection, and taking compliments without deflection, that's another thing. There have been in the past when I was young and, skinny, and everybody has that time where you're just like, oh, I wish I looked like that
I
again.
was
I
cute
was,
at one time. I was,
it turned everybody has that time.
I went
And
through a phase.
yeah, young girls work at it hard, make sure your nails are done, all that stuff. I used to do that, and and at that time, I agree. I looked good. I have to say, although it's hard to say now, but anyway. But there have been people in my life and they're friends, and I have a lot of guy friends, and they're not, they're just friends. And they would say, give me compliments like that because guys have to keep in practice, they say.
That's a good
So
one.
they would practice on me a lot. But there was one guy who kept saying, you are just so beautiful. And I said, oh, well, thank you. And the first time he said it, I was like, yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah, what are you after? How that
Yeah.
reaction that women have. And there's a good reason why we have that reaction. And and at the time I was married, so I was like, yeah, you're just saying that because that nothing's going to happen or whatever. But he would say that, and then he would add things like another day, you look like Susan Sarandon, or you look like Helen Hunt, or all these things, and which is I've been told that a lot, and but I don't have their money, but I would
Helen
like
Hunt. I can see Susan
Helen Hunt.
Sarandon.
Helen Hunt. When I was thinner, it was Helen Hunt.
Okay.
Anyway, I not that I need to get into all that. I only got into that to say that he kept saying those things, and that's how I learned to say thank you and just move on. And the first time I did it was very uncomfortable. Next time I did it, I was like, that makes him feel good.
Mhm.
And I like people to be happy. So I was happy with that. And whether I feel that I look good or not, somebody thinks I do. But that's their reaction. So that will help me work on me in that. Why do I not want to look good? Why
Because
am I thinking I don't look good? Whatever.
we always deflect compliments, always deflect them. And
Do.
and sometimes if you don't, you say thank you, but you don't believe it.
You don't feel it. Well, you
Yeah,
have to feel it yourself, though.
I know. And then that's where having the power within yourself to realize that
Exactly.
you are all that and more,
That's
and
right.
so
And
just don't ever discount yourself.
that's right. Absolutely. And part of that comes from being in a victim mentality, being on the defensive, that sort of thing. If you ever hear yourself doing that, that comes from being put in that position and allowing ourselves to be in that position. And that's not to say that I don't ever go there, because I do.
I know all
But
this
something
self-love
happens.
stuff, it's, self-love is easy to say, it is hard to do.
Well, I don't know. I have confidence in my own self when I'm by myself. The problem is when other people's reactions. That's when all of those things start coming back up. So I don't mind once in a while doing that, but I try not to be around that because I don't want to bring all that up. I've brought it up. Well, you can bring it up and look at it in a different way each time it happens. And then there's a point eventually where you don't even feel it or see it or hear it anymore. And that's growth, and that's good.
Mhm.
But anyway, all of these things can be brought to us, and can be easier to handle as long as if we're keeping our pineal gland in our brain at its highest potential. And that's not well, we can't say its highest potential. At the highest potential that we are able to at this moment in our growth. Let's put it that way, because some people are, everybody is where they are, and just take a step from here and move forward. Changes are not always bad, though humans do think so. So it kept coming to me, the number five. It's, number five comes to me, then I was feeling like, oh, a change is coming. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Now, because I work on my pineal gland, I do different meditations, which I can put the links in there for people later, but there are a million of them out there. But you have to be ready for it, because if you listen to the hertz, which I don't remember exactly what it is, 950 something. I don't want to say the wrong thing. If you're listening to those and it doesn't feel right, that's telling you there's something you need to work on. So maybe you want to do a heart meditation before you go into the pineal gland meditation. But open your pineal gland. You'll see Dr. Joe Dispenza talking about that all over the place. So
And I
yeah,
have a thought.
yes, I saw.
Um,
I saw the light
I know,
bulb.
I noticed that. With the energies that are coming in, because we've been having massive solar flares, geomagnetic storms, all this plasma stuff that is coming towards the earth, and like Stefan Burns and a day or two, we're going to have more coming in. That in itself is going to help awaken your pineal gland. So
Mm,
actually, you talking about the pineal gland right now is a great reminder that go in there, listen to those hertz, go onto YouTube, look for the things that say pineal gland activation, because you're going to get help from the universe right now.
yes, yes. And the way you can help yourself is to use a non-fluoride toothpaste. And
That is harder to do because I have tried to do that. I will just tell you, I've tried to do that and it's hurt my teeth.
it
Just
hurt your teeth.
I went for Tom's, Dr. Tom's or whatever it's called.
Oh, well, I tried that. The one I do is Auromere, Auromere, and I get it at Sprouts. Sorry, I don't think I'm supposed to say that. That's where I got it. It's not, I
Yeah,
mean, I go
but
to
I'm just saying,
stores.
I tried to do that and you don't find it
Ah,
at normal stores, so it's harder to get. And
it's getting easier. It's getting
it
easier.
is getting
Na-
easier.
Nature's Grocery online. You can order it online.
Mhm.
There's a lot of places. But I mean, it's in our water anyway in some
Yeah, I know.
places.
And that's why it's like listening, I think, to the meditations and
Mhm.
with all the activations coming in from the universe and the central suns, like I think those two together are pretty powerful, would be pretty powerful at the
Very,
time.
very, very. And my guides always say stay away from the processed foods as much as possible, but don't feel remorse if you eat something that is processed because however you think of it, that's how it's going to react in your body. So
Yeah.
So I had Cheetos yesterday for the first time in a long time, and I just kept saying how happy I was, and it was gonna be so good for my body, and it was. I didn't get a crash afterwards. Usually I just go, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that," but I loved it. I felt good all day.
Oh, good.
There. So I don't know how much time we have left. I will.
Well, did you have anything else? Because I wanted to talk about Father's Day a little bit.
Oh yeah, we were going to start with Father's Day, weren't we?
Oh, well.
Happy Father's Day, everyone.
Happy
Well,
Father's Day.
the only other thing was our daily practices, but we could do that another time.
Okay.
So Father's Day, yes.
Father's Day. Father's Day, I mean, is I feel a little ambivalence towards it because I didn't have the greatest dad. I didn't know him very well. He had his own issues. And, I remember my mom would always tell him, you're going to be sorry because you don't have a relationship with your children. He
Uh,
was a father of the 50s. People were different. My dad, I think, had a lot of insecurities and he turned to alcohol, which, I have my proclivities, but he turned to alcohol and he did try and master that and he did well for a few years and then he just didn't have a reason not to. But
mm,
I just feel ambivalent, about my father. I'm sure he loved me in his way, but I'm not sure if that way was good enough, you know,
right, right.
being the daughter and all. But your
Uh,
dad was totally different. And he
yes,
had different things to.
well, he still had all of that he was taught to be. Well, and plus his parents were British, so that's even, clamp down your emotions and don't ever show them. That's even more, I think, than the American 50s dad. And he grew up in Canada. So, and where I grew up for my first 12 years was where we were in Canada. But he was a sensitive person and before we knew what that was. He would talk about, and this I've just known since he passed, that I mean I knew he'd had these issues his whole life, but I never knew what they were about. And he's passed some of that on to us too, I think. But sensory, like fuzzy things would, oh, he would just freak out. And peaches, he could never eat peaches.
Interesting.
But yeah, very. So that's the latest one that I found. But after he passed, I found books that he read about sensitive people, and I started looking back, because I've gone back in my shamanic training. I've gone all the way back as far as I can go to the beginning of time. So
It's very far.
it took a long time, but But to the beginning of my time with my dad, I've gone all the way back there too. But it was hard for him because he was very sensitive and he was told to clamp all that down. And so that turned into, physical issues, ulcers or whatever. I don't know his whole history. I just know that, he had issues here and there. And it wasn't until he was about my age, was in his 60s, when he finally just said, this is who I am. And was allowed to be sensitive. And when his great grandkids were here visiting, one girl was sitting, the granddaughter was sitting there, and she, like, we could see her profile, and both of us looked at each other and said, she looks just like grandma. And I looked at my dad, and he was crying. He was like, they don't have any idea how much they're loved and how much we care about them, and they'll never know. And because he knew he was going to pass soon. And so he just let it all out. While other people have said, well, that means because he had a heart issue. Well, yeah, he had a big heart. That's right.
It was an issue.
But when I was a kid, it was, do what you're told, show respect, and don't eat with your elbows on the table. All of that stuff was very, very ingrained. So he passed that on to us, but some of that gave me a really good, basis to and structure. So that didn't bother me. But in my travels of all of these things, have realized how very, very lucky I was to be in this family. And then somebody said, well, you chose this family. And I was like, well, I chose a really good family. Why do other people not do that? Why? Well, because they want to learn. They have a lesson they want to learn. So I guess I didn't have as many lessons to learn. I have a great family. I do. I mean, we all have our problems. Everybody
Right.
does.
And
But
and one thing I did want to bring up, just because of the whole the whole issue of raising of consciousness, you
yeah,
can tell that that is happening because fathers are different now for the most part.
they,
They will
yes,
love their kids. They will spend time with their kids. They know that they are important to their children, and and they tell them that they love them.
they
And
do.
that's, I think, one of the major foundations that has changed is that they
Yes.
are not afraid to get in touch with their feelings.
That's true. And the more macho type guys make fun of that, but
But that's on
I
its
don't,
way out.
yes, that's right. They are. Well, that's probably why, because they're afraid that
Oh,
I
and
don't want to have to be that.
that's why all those bro podcasts, because this is their last gasp to get all this stuff out before they are inundated with, the more touchy-feely guys.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
I
because
don't know.
something has to come up, something has to explode, they have to get it
Mhm,
out of them, and then they
mhm.
realize that they don't have to be that way. But they have to
Yeah,
get it up. They have to get it out.
eventually they do.
Get that out.
I, I hope I can edit. What time is it? So I know. I don't know. It doesn't say. I'll have to find that. Or we'll leave it.
Oh,
We're
well.
adults. We're all adults here, like
You know
Star
what I
was.
meant. You
We're
know
all,
what I
yes, we
meant.
do. You have to pull it up and let it out. There you
That's
go.
right.
That's right. So, but and I think even just parents nowadays are so different than, like, I had a friend who, my daughter did this, not what should I do, but this is, she just saying what happened. And I said, wow, you are such a better mom than I am, because I would have said, well, that's the way it is. And she said, oh no, she has a choice whether we have to live with it this way or that way. And on one hand, I went, I commend you. On the other hand, I went, I don't want to be a parent now, because it wouldn't be fun for me.
Yeah.
I'm a different person than they are. So anyway, so it's saying
Okay,
10 minutes left here.
yeah,
So
so I
yeah.
got that. So did you want to go into your daily practices?
Well, we should both. My daily practices are that I do meditate every day, even if it's only for 10 minutes. And I do have well, one of them is a 20-minute chakra thing that I listen to every morning, and then I put on some nice music or shamanic beat, and I send out all my energies to everyone, and I accept and receive for myself. And I actually lately have been spending more time accepting and receiving, and I'm really proud of myself. So that's something I would say, meditate every day, even if it's 5 minutes. just get in touch with yourself, go into your heart, calm yourself. And you can't clear your mind. I don't know why people say that, clear your mind. That's when all the stuff starts flying in.
I know.
You can't clear your mind. The stuff is coming in because it's saying, "Oh, you need to work on this," and you haven't been listening because you're doing all day.
Mhm.
So just when you start your day, you want to say, "This is going to be a good day." However, whatever affirmations you want, but accept and receive also. And
Oh,
that's
and I wanted to bring up on Friday when I was in the car driving somewhere, I felt, because I felt nervousness. I felt like, not that I was gonna have a heart attack, but I felt like pressure right there. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the energy that's coming in. And
mm-hmm.
I just immediately just started breathing slowly, counting my breaths in and out, and it just went away.
Oh,
So,
that's
if
good.
if you feel yourself getting all revved up, just start your breathing.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Three breaths or more. It's always, even in the
Mhm.
morning, three breaths. I used to do a thing, and I had some people try this for a couple of weeks, but the problem was that as soon as you wake up, everybody has to go to the bathroom. So
Mhm.
go to the bathroom, come back to bed, get comfortable, and then do your meditation. But even if you only have 2 minutes, for the first minute, or as long as you think is a minute, just keep saying thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. Thank you. Thank you. I give thanks. And however many million ways you can do it until it doesn't mean anything in your brain anymore. And then after that, you go into what you are grateful for. And at the end of it, you say, whatever affirmation you want for the day. This will be a good day. I will find a parking place at work. My work will go quickly, whatever it is you want.
Okay.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, that is a good part too. People forget as you're going to lay down to go to sleep. That's where you want to settle yourself into what it is you are working on so that your dreams can help you. And I take a sip of water out of a glass and tell the water and your helpers that you want to dream something that will assist you or something that I need to learn, tell me. And then when you get up in the morning, you drink the water, and all of that should be suffusing in through your body.
If
Are you
it were
laughing
to,
at me?
if it were to work, that'd be wonderful, but it might.
Well, I've been doing it for 2 weeks, and I remembered one dream, so
Yeah,
that takes a
yeah.
while.
At
That
least,
takes a
yeah,
while.
it takes a while. It takes
Well,
a little practice.
at least that I know of, there could be things going on when you're asleep that you don't know. I mean,
Well, yeah,
I've been places in my sleep, so
I know I was busy last night, but I don't know what I was busy doing. That's all I know. So,
But as long as you come back okay, then you're good.
I was
And
fine.
I always like to wake up in a more of a natural way. So like people get mad, they wake up 10 minutes before the alarm, and then oh, I could have had 10 minutes more of sleep. Yeah, but your body awoke naturally. If you had 10 more minutes of sleep, the alarm goes blah,
But
you know, and
the best use of that time then, that 10 minutes, because a lot of people think that they're going to go back to sleep, but you're not really going to go back to sleep.
no,
So
you're
you sit there and you worry about the alarm going off, but just take that time, settle in, start breathing, go to the bathroom, come back to bed, start breathing, and then just wait, and just allow yourself to relax before the alarm goes off.
that's perfect. I hadn't thought of that.
You
People say,
use that time and don't worry.
yeah, yeah. Well, and oh, that's another thing. If you're worry free, that means that you're saying the word worry. So there's still worry. So you can't be worry free.
Well, sometimes it's hard to say a word without saying a word.
I know. Well, we just did. I just did all that. It is. It is. But as long as the energy about it is good. But yeah, so that's how far I am on my journey of changing
Yeah.
words
Oh,
right
and
now.
that's what I was going to tell you. It's not the word, it's the energy behind the word. It's the
Yes,
intent behind the word.
that's
The
right.
the word is just something that comes out of your mouth. It's the meaning that you attach to it.
Tribute to it.
Yeah.
And my guides had done on my New Light Connection channel last week. They had talked about changing the meaning of words.
Oh,
So, yeah, so you can reassign them, reassign
yeah.
words
Because
to
you
make
can
them
say,
mean something.
don't worry. And
Right.
that brings up the word worry, but if you follow that up with, don't worry,
Be
do blah,
happy.
blah, 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 don't worry, be happy, then
All
it
right.
changes the whole thing.
Yeah. Don't worry. Be
Okay,
happy. Well, you have to do it twice.
yeah,
Don't worry. Be
okay,
happy.
well,
Be happy.
we're gonna
Yeah,
be
we're
signing
running out.
off,
We are
sweeties.
running out of time. I see. 3 minutes. So 3 minutes. All right. So
So
thank you, everybody.
yes, thank you. And I wanted to say, it's your time because we didn't really say this, but it is your time to say, what if something positive was going to happen?
Oh,
What
I
if?
love.
Not,
I
not, not what if something negative happens, but what if something positive happens? What if
right.
a miracle does come into your day to day?
What if it all works out?
Yes,
Right. It's your
yes,
time to say that. What if it
yes.
all works out? What if I ask for a miracle? Yeah, that's a very good one. I like that.
Actually, I did get a small miracle today. It's like I had a question and I got my answer from my new, cards. It's like, oh well, that is an answer. And so it's like that was a miracle.
It is. It is a
Because it
miracle.
gave me an answer.
That's one of the things I got out of the Asterius spirit wrap. My life is a continuous stream of miracles. I say that all the time. I love that. So yeah, so it's your time to say what if it works out. Yeah. I love
And
that.
and be open to recognizing a miracle when it comes around. Because it's
Yeah.
sometimes, it just kind of flits through your day, see a license plate that all of a sudden speaks to you. It's like, oh, that's a miracle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And accept and receive it. Yeah.
Yes, receive.
So, this was so much fun. Thank you,
Receive.
Vicki.
Thank
Yes.
you so
Fall
much.
back into your heart and receive. All
Okay. Have
right.
a great week, you guys. Thank you for tuning in,
Have a great week and happy Father's Day.
and happy Father's Day, especially
If
to
you
all you wonderful, wonderful dads out there. And the
not,
ones that are not so wonderful, because we don't really want to leave you out either. You
everybody
know,
is where they are on their journey, and
that's right.
right. Yep,
And you can have good days and you can have bad days. It's
exactly.
just the way
This
it
is a
goes.
good day. This is a
Yeah,
good day.
it's a good day. All right. Thank you, guys.